Thanks for tuning in again on the Local Business Warrior podcast. Today we have Jonathan Gaspard with Restoration Roofing. Is it USA or you dropped the USA?
USA is on our website. That's our domain name.
Yeah.
It's just Restoration Roofing.
Nice, man. Well, the reason why we're doing all these interviews is we want to kind of highlight people's story, right? As an entrepreneur, as starting and growing into where you are now, and especially touching on aspects of what's going on in the world right now. Like we've got COVID. How are you guys battling that?
Sure.
Anything that y'all have had to switch up and stuff? But go ahead and give us a rundown, man. Who are you? And
fifth generation roofing. Grew up my entire life roofing, and for probably 7 or 8 years, I was a professional musician. Did some touring, played with different artists.
Oh, cool. What'd you play?
I played bass.
Bass?
So,
nice.
And when I decided to get married, I decided to take the business a little more seriously and come off the road. And so that was about 9 years ago that we actually started doing the business full time.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was more of a part-time thing, just when I was home, because roofing was my forte and that's what I grew up doing. So I knew that. So when I was home and off the road, I would do a little bit here and there, go off on the road for a few weeks or a couple of months, come back, do a little bit more. Then about 9 years ago, came at it full time, came off the road, and here we are today. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's crazy. Not very often do you come across somebody that's actually like gone the music route and toured and done all of that.
Yeah, well, once you get to, I was 30 when I decided to get married, and I had long hair down to here and earrings and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But once you hit 30, if you're not, in my opinion, there's different, I fully support people who want to stay in it longer. But to me, if I wasn't on a major level, I always say like U2 or something like that, by the time I hit close to middle age, I was just going to come off the road, because I didn't want to be one of those aging rock stars in my 40s, still, making okay money, but not really having too much of a stable life. So I was like, I hit 30, found the girl I wanted to marry, and realized, I'm not on U2's level. So I think I'm just going to come home. So.
Well, that's fun, man. It must have been an experience, though.
Yeah, it was a blast. I love that season. It was a great season.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Now, after that, is that when you created Restoration Roofing?
No, we had what we called Gaspard and Morgan Construction, which is my business partner, Jared Morgan. All the way since back 2004. He's also a musician. And so we kind of utilized it as a fund to dream, because construction is just one of those very flexible types of industries. If you keep it small, just between the two of us, and you're doing sales.
Right.
And so about 2010 is whenever I decided to come on full time and make it, full time for it, because he was also doing music. And we rebranded to Restoration Roofing probably, I'd say 3 years ago, I think, merely for the entire reason I got tired of spelling my name to people over the phone, and our web domain had a terrible address, gmconst.com, trying to sell that to people over the phone. And when you're in sales, every single second matters. And when you're spending all of those very important first moments trying to get the proper spelling of your company name and the proper spelling of your website domain, and then nobody really even knows really what you do. Gaspard and Morgan Construction. Okay, well, do you build skyscrapers? Because that was a huge marketing faux pas that we did. We had a skyscraper on our logo. We're like, no, we do roofing. And so we realized we were setting ourselves up for a lot of difficulty that we didn't need to. So we rebranded as Restoration Roofing in 2007, I believe. Yeah, 2007, just because we wanted to get it out there as soon as people talk to us. This is what we do. We wanted a very memorable name. It's an alliteration. It's easy to remember, sticks in your head. Web domain, Restoration Roofing USA. It's easy to just tell people. So
I feel like almost everybody has gone through that process.
Yeah.
I've gone through that process, like create this brand and this logo and all that, and none of it speaks to actually what you do, just because you thought it was cool. Like,
And we still have gas bar and construction because we operated for so many years as that. So that's our LLC. That restoration is a DBA that operates underneath. So we kept that entity just because, wanted to make sure people realized we weren't trying to run away. There wasn't anything nefarious that we did that we're trying to hide. Because a lot of people in this industry, they operate shady and then they try to shut down and reform another entity. And we wanted to make sure we didn't give off that vibe of like, no,
yeah,
we're proud of everything we've done. We're not trying to hide anything. We're just legitimately trying to make our lives easier by making our product easier to sell.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. Now, so you guys started then, back in 2007, you rebranded. Where are you guys now?
Sorry, 2017. No, 2017. Sorry, not 2007. I said 2007. You correct. You were right when you said, but no, it was 2017 when we rebranded.
Got it. Okay, so you're just a few years into it then.
Correct.
Because here we are in 2020. That's 3 years.
Yeah.
Has it been that difference that you expected?
Night and day.
Really?
Night and day. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, we started this in 2004 and we used it to kind of fund our dream in 2000 until 2010. So that's 6 years of just kind of taking it part-time. 2010 is whenever I jumped in and started really taking it seriously. Jared was still in the ministry at that time too.
Ministry?
Yeah, he was a worship leader at a ministry.
Cool.
And so he was kind of part-time at that point.
Uh-huh.
And so I took it on, tried to recruit 1 or 2 sales guys, but I was still doing 90% of the work. Jared did a lot of back, like billing and things like that. And, but I did the majority of the sales, and we struggled really hard to get to that first $1 million mark. And we struggled real hard to get a little bit above that for many, many years. But when we rebranded, we hit close to 2 million the first year. The next year we hit 2.8 million. Last year we closed in at 7 million, and then this year we're targeting 22, unless COVID screws us up. So
yes. God, rebranding for scale.
Yeah, it's been a lot of good scary moments, because I tell everybody, it's like, no matter what you're doing in business, you're going to have scary moments, because you're scared because you don't have enough business to cover your bills, or you're scared because you're growing so fast you need more business to make sure your bills are paid. Either way, I'm like, I would rather deal with this kind of stress, but it's definitely been a lot of growing pains and learning a lot. I recommend Scaling Up by Vern Harnish, I believe, the Gazelles. Amazing book. Really good.
What's it called?
Scaling Up.
Scaling Up.
Yeah.
By, what's his name?
Vern, I think it's Harnish.
Vern Harnish.
Vern Harnish. It's the name of his organization is the Gazelles. But it was recommended to me by, I'm actually friends with a couple of my competitors. This guy is like probably 5 times the size of us. And so I looked at him as kind of a mentor, and he recommended it to me over lunch one time. And man, it's revolutionized the way we've approached everything.
Really? That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm going to have to give me a copy. Shout out to this gentleman that wrote this book.
Yeah.
So what's been like the biggest learning lesson, you think?
Cash flow.
Cash flow is king.
Cash flow is king. Payment structures, contract structures, because one of the biggest contributors to our growth has not been our typical demographic, which has always been majority of storm centric, storm damage, residential with a little bit of commercial. It was probably 80-30 ish. Now it's 90-10 the other way. And part of the reason is we've gotten into government contracts, military work, different things like that. So that has been a huge deal, because when we first got into it, dealing with insurance companies the majority of the time, you invoice your insurance companies, and when the depreciation comes, you collect and all this stuff. And it's a lot different when you're dealing with large contracts that are $1 million plus, and they're not insurance companies, and there's no depreciation. It's legitimately payment structures. And so getting into it at first, we were looking at these and not really understanding how long it was going to take to get our money in. And when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, wow, that profit margin's huge. Wow, that's going to be fantastic. But when you realize you've got to float this very large project as a small company for 90 days before your first check hits, you realize, oh, we've got to figure that out real quick. So learning that really, really fast, along with doing quality control, getting crews in there that you trust to be able to do the kind of quality that is mandated on military bases and government work and other large projects like that, it was a huge deal. So we've learned how to negotiate our payment structures with our upline that are giving us the contracts. We've learned how to dig into factoring where we need it. We try to use that as little as possible, but we've discovered that, gotten relationships with that. Plus we've gotten into relationships with different financial structures. We were with Chase. I don't want to throw people under the bus, but we were with Chase for a really, really long time. And through our exponential growth, they refused to grow with us. Like, they gave us a very low line of credit that they had given us 6 or 7 years ago. Never even revisit with us or increase us. So throughout our growth, they refused to give us any increase. When we revisited it with them, we're like, hey, listen, we're close to 6 times the size we were when you gave this to us. We need a more line of credit. They're like, no, we're not going to do that. We found a bank that was like, sure, you move over our stuff, we'll more than 3 times that. And we're like, yeah, all right. So they sent the paperwork. We moved all of our stuff over. And so it's just basically finding people who are willing to partner with you in your growth, that's willing to go out and go, we see the potential here, we want to partner with you, rather than people who just don't value the relationship. So there's a lot of in there. It's like, assessing our relationship with financial institutions, negotiating our payment structure, learning how to best manage our cash flow, realizing we'll do this for our subcontractors, but we won't do this for our subcontractors. We're not going to supply housing anymore. All of that was very expensive lessons, but that's the reason moving into 2020, we were looking at 2019 was a very expensive learning year. 2020 was going to be a little more profitable. We still hope it's going to be, despite what's going on, but we'll see.
What are you guys doing? What in your marketing wise? Are you guys still getting jobs? Are you still getting calls?
Yeah. So
partners mostly. What's going on during this COVID stuff?
So on the government side, we have 2 different departments. We have our residential commercial side, and we have what we call our GOOSE department. And GOOSE stands for Government, Out of State, and Emergency. Our residential commercial side, mainly locals, DFW. We've had probably, honestly, about a 90% hit. We've had to furlough one of our production guys. It's been pretty painful on that side. Our GOOSE department has had 0. We've actually had some growth in that side. So we've got constant contact from our uplines, basically saying, we do not anticipate any slowdowns. They're telling us if it's not every week, it's bi-weekly, an update on the situation. So far, not a single project has decided to slow down or pause or do anything.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, it's been a blessing for sure. And so that department is just constantly still selling. So luckily, that's still pushing the machine forward.
Right.
On the residential and the local side, what we're having to do is we're having to completely pivot, because as with most people in this industry, door-to-door and face-to-face is the most effective way to sell.
Right.
We can't do that anymore. Yeah. So what we've been doing is, gratefully, we're certified with a lot of major manufacturers. They've been helping us a lot with giving us a lot of content, how to remote sale and sell online. And we've been putting the guys through a lot of video education through our financing, because we do offer financing through Sunlight. They put us in a relationship with an online organization called Grosso University, which I never heard of before. But they've got a fantastic video sessions, set of video sessions for digital virtual selling in the construction marketplace specifically, along with a set of videos that they've developed specifically for COVID-19 on how to approach it.
Beautiful.
And so my sales guys have been spending a lot of hours watching those. It has helped.
As far as taking the inquiries and knowing how to manage that inquiry this new way.
Yeah, and how how to figure out how to cold call and do some prospecting. Because I mean, all of our sales guys are commission only,
Yeah.
so I want to do everything I can. I want to do everything I can to empower them. My business partner and I were telling them when this whole thing started is we are going to do everything we can to keep this family together, because in our closing in on 20 years, not quite 20 years yet, but doing business, this is the best team we've ever assembled, ever.
Good for you.
This is our all-star team. We were really excited about 2020 moving into it. So we want to do everything we can to make sure that our sales guys, even though they're commission only, aren't starving, because when this is over, and it will be over, we want to make sure they're still with us and they're still in a healthy place financially.
Right.
So
have you laid anybody off at this point?
No, we furloughed one guy who's our production assistant, and we told him, hey, listen, we love you. We want to be part of the team. Unfortunately, money is money. But we want you to feel free to do what you feel like you need to do for your life. But we would like to furlough you and not let you go, because when this is over, we'd like you to stick around. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. I want to stick around. So he's like, I've got this other side job that a friend of mine was offering that I can go out and do during the season. He goes, when this is over, we'll just come back. And so that's the only one we've had to do so far. We've applied for the PPP. So we're hoping that that's going to be happening soon. So we don't have to really look at that any further.
Mm-hmm.
So we're taking on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah. So based on what you said, to me, it seems like a big catalyst to sustaining through this is, one, having the government contracts. I mean, having those ones that just don't go away. That's incredible. I think if you can position yourself with that stuff, you're whatever happens elsewhere, you can at least supplement. Two, the fact that you guys are training your staff on how to manage the inquiries in a way. It's like there's so many people that we've talked to that, they're like, we're shut down. We can't go into customers' homes. They don't want us there. And they take that as like, that's the thing. That's how it is, instead of pivoting and shifting. So seeing you guys that are doing that and training your guys on with those resources. Yeah. Those are how you got those resources. Those are relationships that you already have, or is that available to everybody? Or
it is available to everybody, but they were introduced to us through relationship. Well, let me rephrase that. Some of it is available. Grosso University is available to whoever wants to go there. So if you Google Grosso University, Grosso, I'm sure you'll find them. Yeah. The other ones are a little more specific to our industry and are handled and handed out by manufacturers to their certified clients. So a lot of the stuff we're doing is kind of hybrid. Yeah, some of it's public, some of it is only for certified installers for those manufacturers.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Well, it seems like those are huge catalysts.
Yeah. And the other thing, I mean, we got coffee mugs. The guys are out there on Instagram going, hey, you want a free restoration for your coffee mug? Refer me out to your neighbors. I won't go in their home. We do everything digitally. We have our own PPPEs. We put out a COVID-19 video with me basically saying, hey, we're open for business. This is what we're doing. Before work every single day, our production manager takes the temperatures and records the temperatures of our crews before they go out. They have all their own PPEs. They're abiding by CDC standards. So we are still open for business. We are still doing production. We're considered an essential business. And we are also taking these steps to make sure you and your family are safe while we're on your site. So we're trying to instill a lot of confidence and assurance in the homeowners, while at the same time letting them know, hey, we're still around. Call us out.
Right. Man, that's incredible. You literally just named like the top 3 things that we touched on the other day in the Facebook group, in the Local Warrior group. We had John Logar. He's a partner of mine, and worked with him for over a year. He's a $100 million business consultant, and talked about the top 3 things that need to happen right now. Number 1, cash flow is king. Number 2, let people know you're open. Over communicate. Mm-hmm. And number 3, make those statements about how you're keeping your customers safe through this time. And you just nailed on every single one of those.
Oh, that makes me feel good. Cool.
Yeah. He came and presented to the group, and anytime he's done any kind of presentations to our customers or even our audience, has been absolutely fire. and to kind of see you relating with that and going in line with that. You guys are rocking, man.
Well,
Sounds like you're in a good spot.
we were trying to be in as good as, but we realize we're in a better spot than a lot of people, and we want to make sure we maximize that and we don't take it for granted, because it's real easy to slip down the hill.
Yeah.
Um,
I
if
think
you're not.
I think a big thing for a lot of people to know right now is how much opportunity is becoming available. How
Correct.
much of the market share is becoming available right now. If you look at the S&P and the stats from the crash of 2008, and
Hmm.
look at the graph lines of what happened for people that actually pressed through, didn't lay off, and actually marketed during this time, they doubled, if not tripled, their company within 3 years after the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
And then the companies that stopped marketing, that started laying off, cutting costs and things like that, they were dead within 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
This is based on stats from the S&P. I don't
Yeah.
think.
I've actually heard that too. And that is part of what my business partner and I have talked about, not verbatim that, but the principle of that
Mm-hmm.
is the fact that we do see that this is, I mean, I, we are in a competitive business, but I don't like seeing bad things happen to people. But I realize not a lot of people are going to make it through this because they don't know how to pivot and they don't know how to adjust to the time. Like, this is the way we do it, so we've got to do it this way. Rather than, okay, we can't do it this way. How can we succeed in another way? And I realize that there's going to be a lot of my competition that's not going to make it through the end of this season, and that is going to allow us a lot of opportunity to be able to grow if we can get to the end. And not only the way I'm looking at it is, yes, the season will end and eventually we will be able to door knock and face to face again. But through this season, we're also going to be adding this arrow to our quiver of being able to digitally sell for those who want us to digitally sell. So
Exactly. You're literally adding a way of business to your arsenal.
correct.
And people think, from my perspective, what I'm seeing, uh, people think it's like when this goes away, everything turns back to normal. But looking at the 2008 crash, like how much of us still operate in a way today to make sure that we're safe from something like that again?
Yeah.
And so like it's like, yes, we'll return to normal, but there are going to be people that don't want you in their home or want to see that you have those safety precautions.
And in those situations, if you do have clients who want that and you're not a company who can give that, you've just lost that sale, not because of merit, but just because of convenience.
Yeah.
Just don't want to we don't want to be one of those companies.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. Good for you guys.
So
Very good for you guys. Sound like you got some brains on the the ownership side of the company over there. That's awesome.
we've got a good team. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, um, we're going to have a lot of people listening to this show that are trying to get started, are trying to grow, are trying to get to where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And would you have anything, any kind of tips or insights or anything to say, any kind of final words to say to these people that we might be able to try to add some value to them?
Yeah. Realize that not everyone's your client. That's one of the best advices that I got when I was first starting out. And by first starting out, I mean after I came on full time, because there was a long beginning period where every dollar was a dollar I tried to go after, and I felt like every single potential client was, if I lost them, I took it personal. Um, and I took everything that came on board. We used to do remodels, we used to do all of these things. And once somebody advised me that not everyone is our client, and that it's better to focus on a few things and do them very well than do a bunch of things, which went counter to what I originally thought when we first started this company in '04 was, if we have more arrows in our quiver, more things we do, then we can serve more clients. That is completely false. That's another one of the main drivers why we rebranded to Restoration Roofing, is when we shut down all of our remodels, we shut down everything except roofing. We decided roofing is what we're going to do, roofing is what we're going to focus on, and we're going to be pretty freaking awesome at it. And that's really when everything started taking off. So I would say, find out what you are passionate about and what you are good at and your niche in the industry, and completely focus on it, and realize not everyone's your client. Also, in the fact that, give you an example, we don't waive deductibles, and we won't work with clients who want us to waive their deductible. We'll walk from a job just because it's illegal. And I've had clients actually tell me, well, it's a victimless crime. It doesn't matter, it's still a crime. And if realizing that it's okay to turn a client down, it's okay. And in the end, it'll actually make you a stronger company because it establishes those core values. And once you have a nucleus of core values to operate around, your entire world will just orbit properly. So realizing that principle, it's okay to fire a client. It's okay to turn down a client and realize that not every dollar is yours, and that's all right.
Yeah, man, that's good. That is so good. That first part, the jack of all trades, master of none. I've lived by that for a long time. Love that. And if anybody listening to the show right now wants to get in contact with you for your services, maybe referrals, subcontractors, whatever the case, how could they get in touch? Is it with you? Is it with somebody else?
So they can call our main line at 214-295-6213 or find us online at restorationroofingusa.com. USA on the end of there is important because if you don't, it's going to take you to another company. But restorationroofingusa.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for the invite.
I think you guys are crushing right now. It's incredible. It's awesome. So glad to hear somebody doing well through this time. So, Jonathan, thanks for coming on, man. I really thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely.